Genesis 3 tells the story of a pivotal moment in human history. It is a tale that has been passed down through generations, a story that has shaped the very fabric of human existence. This chapter of the Bible is not just a religious text, it is a profound narrative that delves into the essence of human nature and the complexities of our choices. It is a story about the fall of man, the moment when humanity first tasted the bitter fruit of disobedience. The Garden of Eden, a place of unparalleled beauty and tranquility, became the backdrop for this monumental event. The lush greenery, the vibrant colors, and the serene atmosphere all set the stage for a story that would change the course of history. It is a story about choices and their consequences. The decisions made by Adam and Eve in that garden were not just simple acts, they were profound choices that carried immense weight. These choices echo through time, reminding us of the power and responsibility that come with free will. Every decision we make, no matter how small, has the potential to shape our destiny. This chapter of the Bible takes us back to the beginning, to a time when God created the heavens and the earth. It was a time of new beginnings, a fresh start for all of creation. The world was a blank canvas, and God painted it with the colors of life, love, and hope. The heavens declared His glory, and the earth was a testament to His creativity and power. At the heart of this creation was the Garden of Eden. This garden was not just a physical location, it was a symbol of God's perfect plan for humanity. It was a place where man and nature coexisted in perfect harmony, where every need was met and every desire was fulfilled. The Garden of Eden was a glimpse of what life could be like when lived in accordance with God's will. Eden was a paradise, a place of abundance and beauty. Every corner of the garden was filled with life, from the blooming flowers to the singing birds. The air was filled with the sweet fragrance of blossoms, and the sound of rustling leaves created a symphony of peace. It was a place where every creature thrived, and every moment was a celebration of life. Rivers flowed through it and trees bore delicious fruit. These rivers were the lifeblood of the garden, nourishing the plants and animals that called Eden home. The trees, laden with fruit, were a testament to the garden's fertility and abundance. Every bite of fruit was a reminder of God's provision and care for His creation. In this idyllic setting, God placed Adam and Eve, the first humans. They were given the responsibility to tend to the garden and to enjoy its bounty. They walked with God in the cool of the day, experiencing a relationship with their Creator that was intimate and unbroken. Adam and Eve were the stewards of this paradise, entrusted with the care of all that God had made. Adam and Eve were created in God's image. They were given dominion over all living creatures. God walked with them in the garden. He spoke to them directly. They enjoyed a close relationship with their Creator. Adam and Eve were given only one command. They were not to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. This tree represented a boundary, a limit set by God. Obedience to this command signified trust and submission to God's authority. Into this perfect world, the serpent entered. The serpent, described as crafty and cunning, approached Eve. He questioned God's command, sowing seeds of doubt in her mind. "Did God really say you must not eat from any tree in the garden?" the serpent asked. His words were a subtle challenge to God's goodness and authority. Eve, enticed by the serpent's words, began to question what God had said. The serpent pointed to the forbidden fruit. He told Eve that it would make her wise like God. He appealed to her desire for knowledge and her longing for something more. Eve looked at the fruit. It looked good for food and pleasing to the eye. She desired the wisdom that the serpent promised. Eve, enticed by the serpent's deception and her own desires, took a bite of the fruit. She then gave some to Adam, who was with her, and he ate it too. Section 5. Adam's Choice, Unity in Disobedience. This chapter delves into the pivotal moment in the Garden of Eden where the fate of humanity was forever altered by a single act of disobedience. It explores the dynamics of influence, choice, and the profound consequences that followed. Adam was present when the serpent tempted Eve. The serpent, cunning and persuasive, approached Eve with a question that sowed seeds of doubt in her mind. "Did God really say, 'You must not eat from any tree in the garden'?" he asked, twisting God's words to create confusion and curiosity. He heard the serpent's lies and witnessed Eve's disobedience. Eve, enticed by the serpent's promise of wisdom and knowledge, reached out and took the forbidden fruit. Adam, standing by, watched as she made her choice. fully aware of the command they had been given by God. Yet, he chose to follow her into sin. Adam, in a moment of unity and solidarity with Eve, took the fruit she offered and ate it. This act of disobedience was not just a personal failure, but a collective one, as both chose to defy God's explicit command together. Adam's choice demonstrates the power of influence and the human tendency to conform to those around us, even when it means disobeying God. This moment highlights the profound impact that relationships and social bonds can have on our decisions, for better or worse. In that moment, everything changed. The serene and harmonious environment of the garden was shattered. The sky seemed to darken, and a sense of foreboding filled the air. The once peaceful garden now felt heavy with the weight of their disobedience. Adam and Eve had disobeyed God's clear command. They felt an immediate sense of guilt and shame, realizing the gravity of their actions. Their eyes were opened, and they saw their nakedness, a symbol of their newfound vulnerability and loss of innocence. They had chosen to believe the serpent's lies over God's truth. The serpent's deceit had led them astray, and now they faced the consequences of their choice. Confusion and conflict filled their hearts as they grappled with the reality of their disobedience. Sin had entered the world, and its consequences would be far-reaching. The harmony of creation was disrupted, and the relationship between humanity and God was fractured. This act of disobedience set in motion a series of events that would shape the course of human history, bringing pain, suffering, and the need for redemption. Section 6. Immediate consequences. Shame, fear, and blame. The consequences of Adam and Eve's sin were immediate. Their eyes were opened, and they realized they were naked. Shame and fear filled their hearts. When God came to walk with them in the garden, they hid. They were afraid of his presence. When God questioned them, they blamed each other, and even blamed the serpent for their actions. Section 7. The long shadow of sin. The fall's impact on humanity. The consequences of the fall extended far beyond the Garden of Eden. Sin affected their relationship with God, each other, and all of creation. The harmony of the garden was broken. Adam and Eve were banished from the garden. Pain and suffering entered the world. Death became a reality. The fall of Adam and Eve had brought sin and its consequences into the world, affecting all of humanity. Section 8. A glimmer of hope. God's promise amidst the ruins. Even in the midst of judgment, God offered a glimmer of hope. He promised that one day a descendant of Eve would crush the serpent's head. This promise pointed forward to a future Redeemer, one who would come to conquer sin and death. God's love for humanity was still evident, even in the midst of their rebellion. He provided clothing for Adam and Eve, demonstrating his compassion and care for them. Section 9. Lessons from the fall, humility, obedience, and the grace of God. The story of the fall is a profound narrative that has been passed down through generations. It is a sobering reminder of the consequences of sin, but it is also a story rich with lessons that are relevant to our lives today. When we delve into the story of Adam and Eve, we see a reflection of our own struggles and the human condition. Their disobedience in the Garden of Eden led to their fall from grace, but it also set the stage for the ultimate redemption through Jesus Christ. The story of the fall is a sobering reminder of the consequences of sin. It teaches us about the importance of humility, obedience, and trust in God. Adam and Eve's choice to eat the forbidden fruit was a direct act of disobedience against God's command. This act of defiance brought sin into the world, and with it, pain, suffering, and separation from God. However, this story is not just about punishment, it is also about the opportunity for redemption and the boundless grace of God. It teaches us about the importance of humility, obedience, and trust in God. Humility is recognizing our limitations and our need for God's guidance. Obedience is following His commands even when it is difficult, or when we do not fully understand His plan. Trust is believing that God has our best interests at heart, and that His ways are higher than our ways. These virtues are essential for a fulfilling and meaningful relationship with God. It also points us to the hope we have in Jesus. Despite the fall, God did not abandon humanity. Instead, He provided a way for us to be reconciled with Him. This hope is embodied in Jesus Christ, who came to earth to live a sinless life and to die for our sins. Through His sacrifice, we have the opportunity to be forgiven and to experience a restored relationship with God. Through Jesus, we can experience forgiveness and restoration. His death and resurrection are the cornerstone of our faith. They remind us that no matter how far we have fallen, God's grace is sufficient to lift us up. Jesus' sacrifice was the ultimate act of love and obedience, and it serves as a model for how we should live our lives. By following his example, we can find true peace and fulfillment. He is the promised Redeemer who came to set us free from the power of sin and death. Jesus' victory over death is a testament to God's power and his unwavering commitment to his creation. It is a promise that we too can overcome the challenges and trials of this life through faith in him. This redemption is not just a future hope, it is a present reality that we can experience every day. The story of the fall is not the end of the story. It is the beginning of God's plan for redemption and restoration. It is a reminder that even in our darkest moments, God is with us, guiding us, and offering us his grace. The fall teaches us that we are not perfect, but it also shows us that we are loved beyond measure. God's grace is a gift that we cannot earn, but it is freely given to all who believe. God, in his infinite mercy, provided a way back to himself. This way is through Jesus Christ, who is the bridge between humanity and God. Through him we can find our way back to the Father and experience the fullness of his love and grace. The story of the fall is a powerful reminder of our need for God and his incredible provision for us. It is a story of hope, redemption, and the unending grace of God.